direction that you'd be proud. God, we know that you're King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and you have all the answers, and we don't have any. So we're coming to you tonight asking for help and asking for answers. Lord, we bring this request as you taught us to pray in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mayor, Council, I need a work session. I need a motion on work session minutes for December the 20th.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
6 with 3 and 9 abstaining.
Okay. A motion for the regular council meeting minutes from the 20th.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
7 with 3 and 9 abstaining.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to first start off by thanking the council leadership and as a body for making a decision last week to postpone this meeting. We were very blessed not to have any fatalities or major injuries, but the council did not have to do that. So I want to thank you all for making that decision. I was on the way back from the reception for our new United States Senator from Alabama, Senator Katie Britt, and not able to be a part of that, but I know that the City Council President Jen Wright and Pro Tem Calhoun were in touch with Chief of Staff Chip Hill and Christina Thornton with EMA and others to help come to that decision, and obviously proved to be the best decision given what happened later. But I do also want to thank the community at large for their collaboration and their support for those who have been impacted by the tornado, and making sure that whether they were business owners or property owners, that they have gotten the type of assistance and support that they need. Certainly want to thank Landmark Church for allowing us to stage there and for being supportive, as well as all the other organizations. I know Jannah Bayless here from United Way. I want to thank her and so many others. And finally, but certainly not in the least bit, we want to thank those first responders from Montgomery Fire Rescue and Montgomery Police Department that were Johnny on the spot in the early morning hours of the tornado. So I just want to thank everybody for the role that they played and how the response has gone. Now I get into some bittersweet news. It's good and bad at the same time. We're going to recognize some significant contributors to Montgomery's progress over the years, and we're going to introduce you to someone who the council maybe has already gotten to know a little bit, but maybe the public hasn't. And so we're going to introduce him to the community, because he holds one of the most important jobs in the administration, if not the most important job, probably outside of public safety. And he doesn't know that he's going to be put on the spot quite a bit in this new role, but I think he's up to the task. So we'll start with the bittersweet news, and that is a retirement that we want to recognize for Doug Jones, who's retiring after nearly 40 years of service to the city of Montgomery, 39 years and 3 months to be exact. He started on the grass cutting crew at Lagoon Park and then left for a few years. He came back as an electrician in 1985, and from there he moved to street maintenance as a production controller. In 1991, Doug became the assistant director of street maintenance, and in 2003 he shifted to assistant director of building maintenance before becoming the building maintenance director in 2010. And anytime you have someone who has been such a part been such a big part of the city's growth and progress for this amount of time. We want to recognize them and give them an opportunity just to speak to the council and speak to the community, because Doug has been very helpful in these first few years that I've been in office, guiding us in a lot of ways of things that we could do, things that we shouldn't do, and things that have been done. And when you consider 39 plus years or almost 40 years of service, there are a whole lot of stories that he has and a whole lot of lessons that he's been willing to share. And so while we're kind of sad to see him go, we also understand that it may be time for him to take on a new challenge of spending more time with the family, having a little bit more fun, and having a little bit of R&R without having to worry about all of us calling him at the last minute to get him to save us on some issues. So, Doug, I want to ask you to come on up if you will, and we certainly would like for you to say a few words to the council and to the public, and then we want to ask you to come to the center for a picture with the city council as well. Got a little something for you.
Council, Mr. Mayor, I wasn't expecting to speak, but I want to let y'all know how much of a privilege it's been on my part to work for the city. It's been an honor. We've had a lot of great things go on. We've had a lot of catastrophes that we worked through. And it's been my pleasure to work with a lot of the older people on the council, some of the newer people I haven't had a whole lot of dealings with. But we've built stuff around. We've done a lot of renovation work around town. Back on street maintenance duties, we did a lot of paving, did a lot of renovations back then too. I just want to let y'all know that it has been a pleasure to work with each and every one of you.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, good.
I want to congratulate you again on your service to the city of Montgomery and all the great work that you've done, as well as the leadership that you've exhibited over all these years. So thank you so much for that, and appreciate some of those stories that you shared with me, especially those about my dad. He got a laugh out of a couple of those. Now I want to introduce someone who I said holds one of the most important jobs. Again, some might argue the most important, in particular if you're a mayor, because they say mayors are supposed to protect the community and pick up the trash. And there's probably nothing that gets you in more trouble than if you don't protect the community, if you don't pick up the trash. Amen. And so I want to introduce our new sanitation director, Stephen Hendrith, who just a few months ago came to us to take on the challenge that Dan Dickey left behind after over 40 some odd years. So we're losing, again, a lot of veterans to the city of Montgomery. And Stephen has spent nearly a decade of experience in public works, including as a director of public works, director of code enforcement, and waste accounts coordinator for the city of Selma. This is complemented by his vast experience in the private sector, as well as his education, and he plans to introduce new technology and strategies to increase efficiency within the department. He's already changed my mind on one issue that I pretty much had made up about, but he said to give him time to work it out, and he thought that he would be proven right in what he was going to do. So we'd like to help our directors and really support them in their decisions when they feel strongly about a particular matter. And again, when it comes to picking up the trash, that's not anything I'm an expert in. Some would say I'm not an expert at anything, but I know it's not that. So we turn it over to people who are, and people who know how public works should be handled, and people who know how sanitation in particular should be dealt with. And so, Stephen, if you will come up and introduce yourself to the council as well as the public, just tell them a few things about what you've discussed with me about your plans for the department, and they may have a few questions for you after the meeting. All right? Thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to say hello to the mayor, hello to the council. I'm blessed to be here. I have a wealth of knowledge in this field. I've already been blamed for asking for $500,000 within my first 3 weeks because I want new equipment, new technology. Things that we have done, our numbers, employment numbers are up as high as they've been in years. We've hired 2 CDL drivers today. We have 6 more coming on board tomorrow. I've had to do a lot of house cleaning, but I've had support of my other directors, Mr. Flowers, Mr. Merriweather. I really don't want to name everybody because I don't want to leave anybody out, but everybody has been very supportive. The guys have been on board. The main thing that I preached to the guys that I think got them on board was everybody's kind of worried about their reputation. We stress good character because reputation is who people think you are, but character is who you truly are. So if you have good character, a good reputation is always going to follow. So that's one thing that we stress on a daily basis, and I think if we stick to that, get our equipment, continue support from the mayor's office has been tremendous, we'll get it done. My phone is always ringing, my door is always open, so anytime you want to feel free to call me, talk to me, I'm open. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and just know that's the last time you'll come to this microphone and you won't have some questions. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yesterday was National Law Enforcement Day, and I'd like to take a moment to thank our men and women in blue. These dedicated professionals in Montgomery have led us to some improved numbers year over year. Our murders, our homicides fell by almost 20%, and our overall crime fell by more than 10%. And when you look at 2020, 2022, we also had a decline in the rate of homicide. So they're not only out and engaged in the community, thinking of ways that can build more collaboration with community stakeholders, whether it be the police athletic leagues, implementing more 21st century policing, and educating our community about that, or whatever the issue may be. They are working very hard, and at 66%, MPD still boasts one of the best case clearance rates in the nation. And what that means is the clearance rate is who is captured after the crime has been done. I will tell you in this state, Chief, I don't know if it's the highest, but it can't be any worse than second, because I've talked to a couple of other mayors in the last few months who are nowhere near this number. And so I want to thank not only MPD, but our community as well for working with law enforcement to make this a safer city. So again, we want to thank you all for all the work you do, and please share that with those men and women who are out in the streets right now. Now I want to turn real quick to just a couple of quick items, and I'll take my seat. The Camellia Bowl has been in the news recently, and we felt like we ought to do more of these with the council, and we'll try to do that around particular big topics like this, not just in the work session and one-on-one meetings, but also so the public can understand where we are. We know that there were concerns regarding the guest experiences with the Camellia Bowl. The city puts a lot of money and effort and energy behind that, and so anytime it gets to the level of getting beyond just the public discourse, but into the media regarding events, we want to make sure that we address it. We realize that lodging tax is a big part of our revenue source. It comes from tourism, and it comes from people having a great experience when they come to Montgomery. And so we want to be responsive to those critiques that we hear when we hear them. And I want to commend City Council Pro Tem C.C. Calhoun for probably being the first person to bring it to my attention in real time as there was an issue with people getting into the bowl for the game. But we have performed a full post-event audit and after-action report, and we have identified the miscues, those from the city and those from partners. And we plan to implement some of those solutions to ensure that it won't happen again. If I can, I want to ask our Director of Parks and Recreation, David Carr, just to bring you a few brief comments about what came out of that meeting. Mr. Carr. Mr. Carr not here? Well, I will share with you that we realize that there has to be more collaboration between the city and our downtown merchants and retailers. We also have to make sure that we address some of the facility concerns in Crampton Bowl that were highlighted and brought up. Some of those we've known about and we want to fix. Some or we're a little bit new as well. And we also recognize that as it relates to the disbursement of tickets, that there has to be a different approach than what we have utilized in the past. Georgia Southern brought a great crowd here. We're excited about that. We want them to come back. But at the same time, we know that we can't prepare for what we think is going to be the crowd. We have to be prepared for what may be the maximum crowd that we have. And so with that said, Dave, you came in just right on cue. And so those are a few of the high points that came out of the meeting, but I'll ask you to come up and just give the council as well as the community just a brief overview of the post-event audit that we had on the community board.
Good afternoon, Council. I think from our standpoint, we looked at 3 critical areas that we thought need to be addressed. The first were the ticketing process, how we could improve that process. The second was the process regarding the concessions. And the third was the part for us was the parking piece. On the ticketing piece, we felt good about what we accomplished in terms of how we got tickets on the streets, but we need to shore up some gaps, working directly with the member institutions, directly how we handle the process when they get here on the ground. And one of those pieces was involved in the will call piece that was where the long line piece were. So we think we're in good shape for what we're going to do for the future, but just try to make sure that we communicate directly with them, work with them about the process, how we're going to do that. We didn't have any issue at the other gates, but the will call gate was the one that was the number 1 gate. The second piece was regarding the concession piece. After speaking to our concessionaire, we did not run out of food or beverages. We had one incident where a customer requested a specific adult beverage that we did not have immediately at that moment, or that we had to go and get. So we normally have a process by which where between the second quarter and halftime that somebody will kind of flag and say, hey, kind of give me a checklist of where we are, how much we're missing, and that didn't happen. So therefore, we were addressing that part as well. The second piece on the concession piece, now we have to recognize that our venue is 100 years old and it's got some pieces to it, but we had every line available open, and yes, we had 15,000 fans or so. However, we ran out of nothing except for pretzels at the end of the game. Matter of fact, speaking with our concessionaire, we actually tossed out hamburgers and hot dogs at the end because they weren't purchased. Now, I think what the customer had an issue with was really centered around the long line piece. Well, I'm not sure how much we can do about that. Now, one thing we're going to do is that we're going to take Madison Avenue between the east and west bleachers, and we're going to make that a part of the venue from this point on. And then on that side of Madison, on that street side, make that pedestrian walkway a pass-through that you can go from east side to the west side, bring in tables, bring in food trucks, put a flat screen TV there. So we'll try to make that space an additional space for concession process to be able to address that going forward. And the third part with the parking piece, I think that we have to do a better job of how we work with our partners be it downtown businesses or well as our state employees in terms of, I think our number one lot was Lot E, where we had the biggest issues at. And so we're going to address that piece. First thing we're going to do, we're going to bring back our shuttle process. So as we work through the process to make sure that we know where people are going to park at, we'll bring back that shuttle. And if it's a holiday time period, we're looking at different locations by which where the guests can come to town, can have different places to park at. One thing to identify was we could have looked at using the lot at Alabama State as an example, because we could shuttle back and forth from there and it would have been easy to do so. So those are the three components that we really focus on. They're working on our post-event wrap-up, and I think we have a game plan to address those things, Mayor, going forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, just two more items. Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday is upon us, and we want to let everyone know and encourage people to commemorate this in their own way, as well as with the city, as we partner with Montgomery Martin Luther King Jr. Day Committee on several events, including a parade this Saturday along Dexter Avenue from 1 to 4 p.m. There will also be a Young People's Town Hall on Thursday at the Rosa Parks Museum, with the day of service being on Monday. So we have the full calendar of events. For more information, you can go to mlkdaymgm.com. Finally, we want to end on a high note, and I do mean literally. Jubilee is now open at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, which this city is a major supporter of. It is uplifting a cappella tribute inspired by real life. The world-renowned Fifth Jubilee singers shattered racial barriers in the United States and abroad, entertaining kings and queens. ASF continues to diversify and elevate their offerings, a strategy that has made the Shakespeare Festival one of the South's best cultural experiences. You don't always have to go to another city to see a great play. We have that right in our own backyard. Right here in our community, we must support this venue. It's world-class with an extremely talented artist and a dedicated board. At this time, I want to welcome the Alabama Shakespeare Festival's Director of Marketing and Communications, Lane Holly, to share more information briefly with the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Reed. Thank you for having us, and thank you always for your support. Thank you to the Montgomery City Council and your colleagues on the Montgomery County Commission for your continued support annually. Thank you especially to those of you who use your discretionary funds to buy blocks of tickets for students and seniors and others who might not otherwise be able to come to see a show. And if you don't do that, I'm reminding you, you can do that. Thank you. So as Mayor Reed said, we are the only professional producing theater in the state of Alabama. That means that we have professional actors cast from all over the country. Many of them have worked on Broadway, off-Broadway, other regional theaters throughout the nation. Everything you see on our stages is produced by our teammates in our costume shops, our scene shops, our prop shops, and our craft stations. So we make it for you at a caliber that we think really is not just beyond the state, but really above what you might see in the region. You do not have to go far to see world-class art. And on top of that, we tell stories to build community. We have stories for all and a place for everyone. Whoever you are in this community, there's a story for you and there's a place for you. And right now, there's a story on our stage that is for everyone. As Mayor Reed said, if you don't know Fisk University, I feel like I'm doing theater in the round badly, but I'll just keep talking to you and hope they can hear me. Fisk University, a premier HBCU in Nashville, Tennessee, was started just a few years after the Civil War ended with great funding, but a few years in, they found that they were running low on funds, which I think all of us in this room have probably been a part of an institution that struggled in its beginnings at some point. Students came together to share their beautiful talents to sing and to form the Fisk Jubilee Singers, to raise money and awareness for Fisk University. They traveled not just all over the country, but all over the world. They performed with Queen Victoria as an audience. She loved them so much, she said, "I don't know where you're from, but it must be a city of music." So if you've ever heard of Nashville, Tennessee, referred to as the Music City, it's not because of George Strait or Willie Nelson or Merle Haggard. It's because of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. What you'll see in this production, beautifully and innovatively put together by Tazewell Thompson, is 13 beautiful young actors with beautiful young voices who sing spirituals that the world really had never heard until they went on tour in the 1870s. These, if you know Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, you probably know it because the Fisk Jubilee Singers shared it with the world. These songs have been with us since people came to us from another country. These tunes were with us. When they couldn't speak their language, they used the English that they knew to make new lyrics. And these songs stay with us today. They tell us a story of excellence of song and spirit and of determination for these students to save a university that they knew would save them and that would save generations to come. And now that's all the wordy stuff. What I'm going to tell you is when you come to see this show, please glue on your hair and your socks because they're going to blow them off. These 13 people are going to open their mouths and you will be shattered. This story, this history of these founders and these founding members of the Fisk Jubilee Singers will change how you look at not just American history, but our history as human beings as well, and what it means to invest in something and to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. So I look forward to seeing those of you I haven't already seen in the audiences. I look forward to seeing all of you to see this wonderful, wonderful show. So please come and see us. Thank you again, Mayor Reed, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. President, that concludes my message.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jannah Bailey here to speak to us. President and CEO of the River Region United Way.
Thank you.
I'm Jannah Bailey with the United Way, and I'm here just to thank y'all for the support and encouragement, the prayers, the love, everything. And I have to thank y'all, but I also have to look out and thank all of the citizens in this community and also throughout the state of Alabama, because we have been getting donations in from the Flatwood community. I outlined the income that we've gotten. We've raised to date about $175,000. And I want to reiterate that this is not United Way dollars. This is from the community. One of the greatest blessings that we've received is starting week 1, after the tornadoes hit the Flatwood community, we have an individual who has been sending us $10 every single week. And as y'all all know about the parable in the Bible, the lady that gave the coin, and that was all she had. But we've received gifts from $10, $1, all the way up to $5,000. So we continue to raise the awareness and raise the funds for the Flatwood community. Very briefly, I'm not going to talk as long as the mayor, and I know that y'all don't want to hear me talk that long. But very briefly, we went out and we recognized that this is a community very different than a lot of the communities in Montgomery. These are senior citizens. They own their homes or they've been in their homes for a long time. I've learned a lot about the Flatwood community. I'd never heard of it before, but the Flatwood community, these properties and this land was given by slave owners after the Civil War. The church that was our base and our staging area was actually built in 1867. So this is a community that is 65 and older, and so it was very important to all of the collaboration that we've done and our partners with the city and the county, with EMA, with MPD, with the sheriff, with our nonprofits in 211, Pastor Boyd at Union Academy Baptist Church, the church I was talking about, and everyone that has donated, that it's very different out there. These people, this is their life, this is their land, this is their home. And so we have committed to getting every single person that lost their home, and when I say home, we're talking about either wooden homes or mobile homes, and helping them with their repairs. A lot of these, 90% of these did not have insurance, and so we are committed to that. We found that there are a lot of gaps in services when it comes to disasters like this. I've only been in this role for 10 months, but I've realized that maybe God did not want me to go to Dollar General and he put me here. So I'm kind of mad about that, but at the same time, maybe I still have a little bit of fight in me. We've realized that people don't need just 2 nights in a hotel room and a gift certificate to go to Walmart and to Kentucky Fried Chicken for a night of a bucket of chicken. They need long-term. So we have put residents in hotels, extended stay, and in-town suites. I have to give a shout out. They've given us very good rates. And we're not going to say, okay, your time is up and you have to leave now. We are going to keep them there until we get these houses and get them back into permanent homes. So we, as you can see on the list, we do have one person now that this 75-year-old couple is in a mobile home, and we are striving for the end of the month to get the others in their homes as well. We're helping them with, like I said, with meeting their deductions, with their insurance, paying for electricity to come back on, their hotels. You can see the list there. I do want to address the 2 homes that were affected by the storm that went through last week, the tornado that did hit the east side, but the storm and the strong winds affected 2 homes in Chisholm. And to back up a little bit, I've learned a lot too. I guess I'm not too old to learn, but you have to meet a certain criteria for FEMA to come in and help fund it. So they look at the storm as a whole. I know I'm talking to the choir here, but so because the storm picked up after it hit Mississippi and then touched down in Flatwood, it did not meet the threshold of about $9.8 million in damage. But these are people's homes. And so when we're looking to get them back in, I look at, okay, somebody wants to donate this really crappy trailer with holes in the ground, but it's a roof over their head. I say, is this good enough for my grandmother? No, it is not. And so that's kind of the bar that we have set to get these people back in homes. Mrs. Williams that lived on Michigan Avenue, the tree that fell through her home, completely demolished it. I don't know who has Chisholm in their city council.
I do.
Is that you, Ms. Johnson? So you're aware of her home out there. What we learned is she has a mortgage with a mortgage company, and I do air quotes because it is a man in North Carolina. I haven't gotten his name, but believe you me, you're going to find out about him later. Those of you who know me know I will say what I feel. So she has lived in this home for 29 years with a mortgage company in North Carolina and had 2 more years on her mortgage of $400 a month. The home that we looked up on Montgomery County is worth about $9,800. Over the course of 29 years, she's paid $140,000 on this home. The home was insured by a local large insurance company, and they dropped her after she had 2 claims of branches falling on her home, and they said, you've got to take the tree down. Well, what else we've learned is that people like us, we have resources and we know who to call and we have voices. She didn't know who to call and she couldn't afford it. So they dropped her insurance. Well, because it's not probably a legit mortgage company, they didn't say anything to her. So when I spoke with her and met with her on Friday we gave her a check for a deposit and the first and last month's rent on a home that we found for her in Sheridan Heights with the help of Pastor Jannah and her church members, is he told her when she called to tell him what had happened, he told her that she still owed $10,000 on the house. So we also have found out in all of my research and investigation is that there is a group of volunteer lawyers at Faulkner that we are going to put her in touch with. They deal with indigent people and people with hardships, and we are very hopeful and very assured that this will get waived. But we've uncovered a lot, and as I told the mayor when all this happened, and when I took the role as United Way, is that we have to work more with collaboration and partnerships, and this small disaster, I've seen that bigger and better than I've ever seen, people coming together. And I just want to thank y'all. I'm not here to ask for money, but hey, you can donate to United Way online and we will take that. We are looking to get about $150,000, $200,000 more, so we can put them back in permanent homes. The church is having a fish fry from 10 to 4 on Friday, so please come out, and Sam's is donating the sides for that, so kudos to Sam's, and a barbecue rib on Saturday. So if you have any questions, everybody knows how to get in touch with me. But thank y'all for your support and continued prayers. And I know Thursday is supposed to be another storm's coming through, but we stand ready to help and serve. And thanks to the community too as a whole.
Thank you, Jannah. Thank you so much.
Council, the mayor, you know, I have certain passions about certain things, and during Christmas to New Year's, I lost 2 juveniles within District 6. DeAnthony, father is here. DeAnthony, can you come up, sir? The 14-year-old that was shot and killed in one of the apartment complexes that we had been dealing with, this stadium here, one of the apartment complexes that we had been dealing with for a while. We did put some things in place. I'm glad that we did. And also, Mayor, that we gave you some schools that we needed those resource officers. And I talked to those principals, and they were so thankful that we did get some of those resource officers so we wouldn't see some of the things that we are starting to see now. But I do want to turn it over to Mr. Vickers at this time.
How y'all doing?
Hello.
My name is DeAnthony Vickers Sr. I'm the father of the late DeAnthony Vickers Jr., the 14-year-old that got shot the day after Christmas. I'm here to help make a change in my community with the youth violence. First, we can start with like giving kids curfew, because a lot of these kids be 12, 13, 14, out 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. We have to change stuff like that. We need more patrolling of police in like neighborhood, like actually walking around. Because like, see, when I was a kid, I still remember the officer that walked around because he made a difference. Like, the community wasn't scared to talk to him. His name was Officer Green. So that kind of helps because it makes the community more comfortable, and they, you know, kind of look for the word that, well, they interact with you better. Like when you know them, they feel comfortable around you. And another thing is, we have to occupy the kids' time. A lot of the kids don't have enough resources to do with their time, so a lot of them don't play sports, so we have to come up with some type of something to like occupy their times, like boys and girls clubs and after school activities. And another thing, the city of Montgomery, they need to take back over the athletics, because MPS they're just not cutting it. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for the information.
Thank you. Sorry for your loss.
Sorry for your
about
loss.
that. Yes, sir. Okay. Terry Reynolds is here, but Glenn, you have
Mr.
something?
General, yeah, can I ask a quick question? And Mayor, and I see Terry's here. Can ARPA money be used to help these individuals in Flatwood and like the lady on Michigan Street or whatever? Can ARPA money be used for stuff like that? I didn't.
That's a good question. You just asked that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So ARPA funding is restricted to direct impacts from the pandemic. All right, so we've got those 4 categories.
Okay.
All right, and so they have to fall within those categories. However, we should have an offline conversation with United Way, because there are ways within ARPA to support nonprofit organizations. So if that's something that the body directs us to do, we can have those conversations.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Okay, anybody else got a question? Now, Terry, you came, you're not here for your health. You came as a purpose, didn't you? And I don't see you on the agenda anywhere.
She just here if we have questions on number 5.
Okay. Okay, good deal. All right. Okay, item number 1.
Mr. President, item 1, ordinance rezoning 39 Madison Avenue and 38 East Jefferson Street from a T5 to a T40 district.
Mr. Insco. Amy, you don't get Amy yet. She gone?
Amy?
Tanya.
You mean Tanya?
Tanya, I'm sorry, Tanya. Tanya.
Robert.
Robert, you here?
He's coming.
Okay. I got a question here. I guess we were shown that T5 doesn't qualify.
Yes, sir.
T5, he's in T, it doesn't qualify, but to go to T4, would be a warrant, have to be a, what's that mean?
So if you were to rezone him, then after the rezoning, the request for a warrant would go before the Consolidated Review Committee, which is a smaller version of the Planning Commission, but just internal for SmartCode areas only, and he would have to go before the Consolidated Review Committee for approval to grant the warrant for auto-oriented land use if you were to rezone it. But if you don't, then it does not go before it at all.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Council.
Mr. President, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So, Mr. Smith, what you're telling us is we was to rezone this property, it still would have to come before the warrant commission.
It would have to come before
it would
the.
have to be approved by the warrant or can be denied at that area. At the warrant.
Correct.
Thank you.
He said it's internal.
And who is the warrant committee?
So it's the Consolidated Review Committee, which is a smaller version of the Planning Commission for SmartCode areas only. And it's made up of largely internal departmental people such as the land use administrator, I think maybe the chief building official may be on it, somebody from the fire department, somebody from the traffic engineering department, and a couple of other ones. It's been a while since I've dealt directly in it because I'm not in charge of that area anymore, so I'm not totally as on my good on my recall on who all is involved. But as I said, earlier in the work session, rezoning it to what the request is would not be in compliance with the downtown Montgomery plan for an auto-oriented land use.
I have a question.
So we would prefer that you not do that, and if you were to take action, that you would deny the request to rezone for that purpose because it's not in compliance and is not consistent with the downtown Montgomery plan.
I have a question. Mr. Smith, why is it that it comes before the council and then someone else has to approve or deny what the council do? Why didn't it just go to them?
That's just the process of the SmartCode process for downtown, because downtown is a SmartCode area, and that's just a totally different process.
And so when did that process come about?
In 2007, when the downtown plan was adopted. And it would be the same for other SmartCode areas in the city, such as Centennial Hill is in SmartCode area, the Maxwell Boulevard area is in SmartCode, as well as Hampstead. They're all SmartCode, so they operate in that way. And it's totally different than the non-SmartCode areas where there is no Consolidated Review Committee, CRC, that issues the warrants or would consider a warrant.
That's a whole lot of approval. They have to go before the planning, then come to council, then the
Correct.
SmartCode.
Yes.
Some of it out.
Well, thank you for the explanation, Robert. Mr. President, Ms. Insco, I understand that you've been through several carryovers and it's been an extended period of time, but I do understand that you're going through another process, and I would like to see that process through, and I would like the council to carry this over until February's meeting. And Mr. Insco, if I can get your number, because I wanted to call you, and I contacted Brenda to get the contact information, but we did not have it. And I know that you needed to speak to someone after I saw the meeting. I apologize, I was not here, but I lost my stepmother. So I would love to get your number, and I can come down and get it from you, but I would ask the council to carry this over.
Okay, Mr. Insco.
When the zoning was changed, it didn't match the type of businesses that were already operating there and had been operating for years. And all we want to do is to get it from T5 to T4 so that those buildings can be occupied. We have people wanting to get their business licenses and go into business in those buildings, doing the same thing that has been done in those buildings for decades. No changes. It would be just correcting that. I think it was probably an error that was made to make it a T5 instead of T4, because T5 did not match the businesses that were operating for automobile repair and tires. But everything is done inside these buildings. It's nothing done outside. It's not anything that affects the neighborhood. There are 10 roll-up doors, so 10 vehicles can be put inside for working on them, and I don't see how it can hurt.
I do understand your position, sir. I know that during that time, it's been a year gap, we have released a new downtown plan, and we are currently updating as the time passes the smart code and the zoning in downtown, because the vision is a lot different from what it previously was and what we see Montgomery moving forward. So again, I would love to talk to you more offline so we can have a conversation with anyone else that needs to come into this conversation, but I would still ask if we can carry it over just so we can, you know, just talk this through. And I do understand the young couple that wants that business. I'm willing to talk to them as well.
No, we've carried it
So,
over for 6 weeks so far.
Okay, Mr. Insco, we'll do that. We're kind of locked with this smart code thing.
So I have a motion to carry it. Well, I don't even
Have a
need a
motion to carry it over, all in favor?
We can do it.
We don't even need a
We ain't got a vote.
Yeah, we
You
don't need
just
a
carry it
motion.
over.
By
Okay.
consensus.
All right, let's carry it over again. Okay, one more time, Mr. Insco, sorry.
Item 2, ordinance authorizing the ARPA funds be divided equally between 9 council districts.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to carry items 2 and 3 over, please.
All right. Going to number 4. Number 4, you going to carry it over, Ms. Johnson?
Yeah.
Number 4, carry it over to February? Okay. Number 5,
Hold on just a second.
sorry.
Because you're moving on through there.
Number 4 is carried over. Number 5, resolution approving broadband study and sewer engineering services from the Montgomery Thrive Initiative.
Okay. I need a motion to
Mr. President,
adopt.
move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Resolution is adopted.
Number 6.
Resolution revoking the business license of New Moon Bar and Grill at 1343 Dalrata Road.
Okay, the representative of the business here, the New Moon, the owner of that is here. The owner of New Moon here, please.
Is Chief Albert in here today?
Chief Albert over there. I want the owner first, and I got Mr. I'll let you talk later, okay? Hang on. Who's the owner? The owner first. You the owner?
I'm the liaison. I've worked with the owner.
Oh, are you with the owner?
No,
Okay.
he's the owner.
Huh? She's the owner and you the, okay, Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Randy,
Robert's
you-
fine.
Huh?
Robert's fine. You can let him talk.
Okay, all right.
It's-
Y'all made a,
We'll yield to the police.
Mr. President,
yes.
have a public hearing on this already?
Yes, sir, we did.
So what we doing?
Well, the
Right.
MPD wanted to
Oh, okay.
bring something forward, and then I wanted to hear
Then
something
you're
from
talking,
Mr.
okay.
Is it okay with you if we hear him?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah. See, okay. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Council. We prepared a PowerPoint presentation to articulate to you visually the issues that the Montgomery Police Department and the surrounding area within that community have had with New Moon Bar and Grill.
Mike, can you put us?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council. A couple weeks ago, we were here discussing New Moon Bar and Grill, and the question came up about the amount of calls for service and how much time it took police department to address the issues with that location. So I have gathered a few more details to present to the council. And this PowerPoint that you have behind you will outline that, and I'll go through each and every one of the slides and explain it in detail. So go back one. This one basically is talking about the hours of operation. And as you can see here, as I'm pointing at it, that's supposed to be the hours of operation. Next slide. Just a frontal shot of the establishment, the parking lot. Next. This is an overview. This line here is military base back here. This is the line, this is closed. This is closed all the time. So this is all military. And on this side is the neighborhood. The people we get the calls for service from. Next slide. Another overview. Again, the military base here. This is the railroad tracks. And then the neighborhood that's mostly affected by the calls for service. Next. So this is calls for service specifically for that address, 1343 Delrita. That's from December 3rd of 21 through December 10th of 22. Just that location, not the surrounding area. It just shows you the various types of calls that we've responded to. The next slide will show the calls that's coming from the neighborhood. People in the neighborhood that's calling, the times they're calling, and the dates they're calling. So although it's not the particular location, it's directly related to calls for service from the establishment. Next slide. So here, we'll start with the first one. That was the shooting incident that took place that we all talked about a few weeks ago on the 19th of November. That was an incident where two individuals were shot. But as we look at the problem at that location, you'll see the different dates, March, February, all the way down to February of 2022. Loud music, about a juvenile being in a location drinking. This was a parent that called and said they were in there drinking. They even asked for the fire marshal to come out. Large number of vehicles in the area, blocking the road, racing vehicles. This is at 10:31 p.m. And it should be quiet in that neighborhood. Next. More calls, vehicles blocking the street, subjects using the bathroom in residence yard, gunfire. Next. December 2022, parking lot issues. This is the same one on November. This is the two subjects shot. We get down here, more parking issues, disturbances. This is one talking about an employee hit someone in the face. Medics were called out to the location. More parking issues, domestic violence. Next. July, 20 plus people standing outside. And this was after midnight. More people arguing outside, extremely intoxicated, asking for folks to try to get individuals from that location to their homes. And keep in mind, when we send units out, we can't send one unit out, we send multiple units out because of the crowd size. So when we send multiple units out, that's other areas of the city that's being neglected because we have to focus so much there. And it's not anything that we can handle quickly. It takes time, it takes sorting it out, it takes, if it's an arrest involved, if it's talking to management, those things take quite a bit of time. Next. This is a video from the November 19th shooting. Once you watch this car, it's obviously going a little bit fast. And then this location right here where a lot of the problem is centered. So go ahead and play that video. hope you have some volume. Turn the volume up. Next video.
Was it a restaurant?
What is that?
At the street between.
Is that a light?
An individual over on this area firing this way. You know, off to the side here. You'll see that in the next video. Next video. Next video. This is from the neighborhood, and that's the bar with the lights and the amount of cars you see in the back parking lot, front parking lot, and of course this is the train tracks.
Where's the restaurant?
Sounds like a damn war.
It is.
Next.
Is this the same video? Yeah, we don't have.
No, this one right up in this area is where I need you to.
It's the same shooting though, right? It's the same shooting, same incident?
I can't hear you.
Is it the same incident?
It's the same incident, but
Yeah, we
on
don't
that
need
one
to
I
keep
want you
seeing
to.
that. That's just the same stuff
No,
over and over.
it's different. On this one, I want you to actually see there's a different angle on it. That's why it's important to play this.
That's in somebody's carport.
So they look like they're shooting in the yard.
That is disgusting. It's crazy. And then all those somebody
He shot. He just got shot. All right, next one. This is officers entering the bar on the night in question when the security guard was shot. You see the number of people that's inside. We'll go back one. This is immediately following the incident as officers responded.
Hey, excuse me, get out the way, excuse me, hey, excuse me.
What he said, that's him.
Let me see it. After closing hours. Next. This is just some scene photos of evidence, parking lot markers with the shell casings. Next. More neighborhood, all of these markings are where shell casings were located during that incident on the 19th. Next. Shell casings. Next. Evidence markers. This is the establishment. This is evidence markers here, 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 and here in the neighborhood. I think last time we met, the question was how many calls did we have? I said 8, but that was pertaining to this area. As you can see, there's evidence markers throughout the neighborhood. Next. So MPD has been responding to citizens' complaints of traffic and et cetera. So this is some of the enforcement action we've taken over a period of time. On April 24th, a vehicle struck a residence. The driver got out the vehicle and fled. April through June, and in May specifically, we went out and wrote a number of citations in that area. November 22, officers doing enforcement, narcotics arrest, gun arrest, traffic arrest, and more citations. Next. This is an email that the council you received, I believe I did, and so did the mayor. This is a person that's been living in the neighborhood for 45 years, and this is just their comments about what happened on that night and how frightened they were. So I gathered those things to present today to show that it wasn't just those 8 calls for service during that 12-month calendar year. This has been an ongoing problem for quite some time. MPD is focused on addressing those issues however we can. And again, it's manpower intensive. We will respond to anything every call. We're going to respond in numbers because of the numbers that we're dealing with when we arrive. But just to show the council and present to the council that this has been an ongoing problem, and it's not just isolated to a few calls for service. That's all I have.
Okay. All right. I think we've seen the problem.
My time?
What's your
Okay.
response?
My name is Robert Taylor, and I am a liaison between the
Neighborhood.
residents of the neighborhood, Brantley Lions, and the bar. And I can really appreciate the detail that our police chief has presented, and I'm not here to dispute any of it. I think it was a bit dramatic, but I'm not here to dispute any of it. I hear the same gunfire in my neighborhood. I live in District 1, I live in Lake Forest. I've heard the same gunshot.
Like
We've
that?
seen bullets as well.
Like that?
Okay?
Like
So,
that?
you know, that's something that's prevalent throughout the neighborhood. But what I can appreciate about the detail that he did give us, we saw that even before the agreement that I'm going to present to you tonight, the club was not open at 3 o'clock in the morning. The club was not open at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't see any incidents in his detail that showed that. But what my job to do was to reach out to the community that's affected by the situation, talk to them, get their input, get their ideas, report back to our city councilman, Brantley Lions. Overcrowding is a matter of the fire department. Don't think they've been out there. And oftentimes we see so many cars parked at places, but it's one person per car.
Talk to us, please.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's just one person per car in a lot of places that we see a lot of cars. So there's adequate parking even behind the bar. But first off, I'd like to say that we invited some residents of the community to come to New Moon on December 30th. 7 members of the community came and we met. A member of the police department, Officer J.B. Jones, who has been one that has been active and working with the neighborhood association, was also in attendance. We discussed the issues that the community presented. And then I was invited to come to the neighborhood association meeting, which occurred on January 5. I've distributed to you a resolution that was worked out between the owners of the bar and the neighborhood, community, Dalrater Neighborhood Association, to determine that they want the bar, for the most part, to stay. They have concerns about the time limits, that the bar will be open. By consensus, we agreed that the bar would close at 1 o'clock in the morning. Last call for alcohol by 12:30 a.m. The only persons left after 1 o'clock will be those who are there to clean the bar for the next business day. I've distributed to you all what we worked out with the neighborhood. The incidents that have been reported primarily are traffic, and we would hope that the police department would be vigilant again when we may call just to get traffic cleared. There's been no call to deal with any, you might say, altercations at the bar since it's been there. It's just been a popular bar, and we're gonna have to limit how many folk we serve. So by 1 o'clock, we're gonna shut it down.
I think your old time was 12 midnight. You shut down at midnight, you advertised, you shut down at midnight. Is that right, Chief?
Correct.
Pardon me?
Your advertisement says you close at midnight.
But the community, yeah, that was during COVID, where we limited the times that we would operate. That was during the COVID time. But there's been a consensus with the community that we can stay open till 1. So, and I think the most important entities involved are the community and the bars. Police department are here to protect. So we will certainly call upon the police department if we have any problems. And also the neighborhood association knows that they can call me as liaison, and we're gonna address any issues that we may have. Now, what we've asked for is to give us time to change the behavior. If folk have been coming down there past 1 o'clock, they will soon know not to. I think the police department was there Sunday to turn folks around, even up the street. We appreciate that. But if they had come down a little further, we were gonna turn them around anyway. But we appreciate the help from the police department. So what we're asking for, give us time to work this out. This is a very popular establishment, enjoyed by the neighborhood as well as patrons who come. And I do think we can get these things resolved. We've resolved it in terms of an agreement with the neighborhood, so.
Mr. Lyons, you got, this is your deal?
I got a question, Chief Albert. What time was it that y'all respond to that shooting, and what time was it when y'all went into that bar and it was so packed you could barely get in there?
Yeah, it was 1:22 a.m. when we responded to the shooting call at the location.
Yeah, what they have proposed here is last call at 12:30, close at 1. All patrons gone from the parking lot no later than 1:30. Closed on Monday, open for lunch Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 2, open from 5 to 1, 5 in the afternoon to 1 in the morning. I guess, but you got last call 12:30, you're shutting you're getting everybody out at 12:30, you're closing at 1, right?
We're out by 1.
Increased security, identified by tire, traffic control, making sure there's no overflow parking on Dalrater Road or nearby streets. Moon said he'd employ off-duty officers if possible. Cameras installed, tied in the Star Watch. Lower the music volume.
Do they agree to these rules? You agree to all this, Mr. Tyler?
Who actually owns the
Yes,
vault?
they sent this to me, and I've been reviewing it. Is there no way that we can get y'all to do last call at 12?
You know, that's sort
I mean, I'm looking at these videos, and y'all are saying, well, we're attracting all these great, wonderful patrons, but a lot of the patrons that I've seen in these videos ain't so great and wonderful.
We can solve this problem. Give us an opportunity to operate our new model. We come back, if we're not in compliance, if the police has a whole lot of activity coming from New Moon, then you got the same opportunity to do then what you can do now. The owners chose not to open New Year's Eve. They forewent a lot of revenue so that they would not be a part of all the gunfire that was all over this city. Can't blame it on New Moon, we weren't open. So all we're asking for, let this model have a try. You can always come back if there are complaints from the neighbors who have also signed on to this. The neighborhood I met with on January 5th, all of the concerns that you've heard, we discussed.
Mr. Lyons,
As much as it pains me to consider this, and also the fact that, you know, we're stressing our MPD resources on matters not just on this instance, but other establishments as well that have these issues, at some point we need to send a message to the business community, you know, we just can't keep doing it. But being that you have met with the neighborhood association and the local folks, you know, we're all pretty much on our last string here. I don't think we can take any more. And they need to understand if these guys go out to another call at that place and it's anywhere remotely what we just saw, they're gone. They're done.
I can appreciate that.
okay.
And
So we're gonna agree to 30 days?
Give us 60.
No.
We can handle that.
Clean it up now, as far as I'm concerned, clean it up. Because you messed up the residents. I mean, those gunshots were crazy. Those bullets came down somewhere.
Well, and my biggest concern is you know, just like you say, you've heard it in your neighborhood and this, that, and the other, but I mean, one of those angles was from a guy's carport.
Can I,
And if I was living there, I'd be really wanting it shut down, but be it as may, you met with the community, you met with DNA and have people from the neighborhood. I've got an email from one guy that lives right back there, you know. I can't imagine why he wants to give them another chance, but, you know.
Let me add that when we talked about this being dramatic, yes, it is dramatic, and it was meant to be so, because that's what the neighbors see. That's number one. Number two is, when we talk about, you know, MPD coming and supporting and working their off-duty, we can't work it because it be an alcohol establishment, so we cannot work off-duty jobs at that location. We can respond like we do, but one of the issues is when you have parking problems in the neighborhood, it's very hard for us to go to the establishment and identify the owners of those cars once they leave those cars parked in the neighborhood or double parked, where we have to go into the establishment and try to find an owner of a particular car. That's very hard to do when you have, you know, music playing and people and the business is doing well and it's got folks inside. It's kind of hard for us to go in and identify the owner of vehicles. That's when they double park and in people's driveways, and you know, it's difficult for us to do. It's not something we can just come in and do and then go back to work somewhere else. It takes a lot of time to do that. And then it's not directly in front of the location. It's generally in the neighborhood, which means we have to get the information from the vehicle, then go over to the establishment and try to find an owner. So I just want to, you know, let you know what it looks like for us on our end, and whatever the council decides, and we'll do.
All 5 of you, are you all for reopening the bar? Of leaving it open? Is everybody here for?
Yes. Yes. Now, I'd like to make one point as well. There's been none of that since we were here before.
Okay.
None of the complaints that we have heard before.
Show us that for another 30 days then.
I got a question for revenue. Are they current on their sales tax and all that jazz? Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well.
That's all I have, but, you know, we'll see you in 30 days.
30 days.
Thank you.
All right, 30 days, you can be back and check you out. Okay, very good.
Thank you, Chief.
Next item, number
Mr.
7.
President, can I just make a statement real quick from this? I just didn't want to pass this because everybody saw that video and heard that gunshot. I hear it in my neighborhoods. He just stated he hears it in Lake Forest. And a lot of people contact us as your city council people. But I want to make sure that everyone understands that gun law that just passed on January 1st, well, that became a gun law on January 1st, happened at your state legislator. A lot of people forget that you have a House rep and a senator that you should be contacted about this. You're tired of gunfire? Guns are getting on your nerves and you want something to happen? It happens at the State House. That's where those laws are passed. Call them just as much as you call us with your annoyance, because we can do everything we can to advocate for you, but they pass those laws. Okay. So those that were in favor, contact them and let them know it bothers you.
I'd like to make a comment about that. That happened before those gun laws were passed, and I don't think anybody's Second Amendment should be oppressed or suppressed, because at the end of the day, that didn't stop that, and it's not gonna stop it. These guys are gonna get those guns out of the back of a trunk. They ain't interested in going down and paying $25, $50 a year for a license to conceal it, but be it as may, I agree with you, guns are getting in the wrong hands, but they ain't doing it the legal way, like everybody else,
It's hurting good citizens bad.
It is.
Okay, let's go to number 7.
Item 7, ordinance establishing voting precincts for the 9 council districts.
Okay. Madam Clerk, we need to make an adjustment to
We
this.
need to suspend the rules and then make a
I need
motion
a
to
motion to
adopt.
suspend the
and amend.
rules.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right, now, voting on the main motion, we need
a motion to adopt.
We need a
and
motion to adopt.
Now a motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
The 2 exhibits to change 2B from Pete Peterson Lodge to Old Elam Baptist Church.
Okay. Voting on the amendment, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Now voting on the main motion, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted as amended.
Now we got a place to vote. Okay. All right, number 8.
Show cause hearing on a proposed resolution revoking the business license of the Velvet Room Bistro at 3526 East Dale Circle.
All right, Representative of Velvet Room. All right, Mr. Ed.
I think Chief Rucker's got some for us.
Okay.
And Chief Albert. All right, Chiefs, go ahead.
All right, yes, sir. Major Rucker with the Montgomery Police Department. We also have a slide presentation in reference to the Velvet Room Bistro. Next slide, please. As you can see, it's located under the red mark. As you can see, this is the Velvet Room Bistro located in this location here. Also, I bring to your attention the surrounding area of East Dale Road South and the 100 block of North Burbank, which I'll comment further on later. Next slide. All right, also this is also a view of the overview of the location, and also pay close attention to the parking lot in the front and the areas in and around. Next slide. All right, these are approximately 25 calls that were recorded from December this year from March of 2022 to December 2022. Those are approximately 25 calls that were called to that location. Next slide. December the 23rd, 2:46, we responded to a subject who dropped a gun inside the establishment. It was confiscated, and the security kept it. On December the 18th, we responded to a local hospital in reference to a stabbing. An adult female reported being stabbed while at the Velvet Room. We also did receive a call at their business for a disturbance. December 17th, subject attempted to break in vehicles. I think we took the subject in custody for that incident. On December 11th, We responded to a local hospital in reference to a gunshot victim. He reported while he was in the parking lot of the Velvet Room, he received non-life-threatening injuries. Also, during the month of December, with one of these calls in reference to multiple gunfire, there was also damage done in the 100 block of North Burbank, behind the business where a vehicle was shot. Also, Eastdale Oaks retirement home, there was also damage received at their building as well. Also, as Councilman Grimes is aware of, the gym in the same shopping center also received damage as well. Basically, the rest of the calls here, we got calls for disturbances, and we've also got calls from individuals there that advise us that we need to get en route quickly. Next slide. We also responded to October 8th, 2022 at 3:04 in the morning. Units responded to the area of multiple vehicles shooting at each other coming from the Velvet Room. On October 8th, which was the same night, approximately 20 minutes later, we got a discharge into an occupied vehicle. The victim stated he was a bystander and his vehicle was struck by gunfire while other vehicles were shooting at each other. While completing the report, officer observed a subject doing donuts in the parking lot. That subject was arrested for drugs and possession of a firearm. On September the 24th, this particular incident right here, on September the 24th, we had a unit that went to the area and noticed that we had four-wheelers in the parking lot doing, it was committing traffic offenses. Upon attempting to stop that individual, taking him into custody, the crowd surrounded the officer, which we had to call multiple units there, and we ultimately took the subject in custody. We also had objects thrown at us during this incident, and we also charged another individual. Go ahead to the next slide, please. All right, and these calls here, these are back in May from March, so that just shows you the number of times we've been out there for one another. If you look at April 23rd, 2022 at 05:34 hours, MPD responded to an assault call at a hospital, and the victim advised that at approximately 0100 hours, 1 o'clock in the morning, she was assaulted and kidnapped while leaving the Velvet Room. The suspect was taken into custody and charged. Next slide. What this video here depicts is, I think this occurred, it was past 3 o'clock in the morning. The Velvet Room was still operating. Previously, we have had officers respond and try to make contact with the owners or the managers, and they refused entry. So this is a common occurrence where they're open to 3 or 4 in the morning. So basically, that particular point right there just shows that the club is operating past the norm, and on average, it's 3:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's all I have. Councilman Grimes.
Thank you, Major. Guys, what do you got to say for yourself? Because we've had a bunch of calls, and they've all been bad calls.
Most of the calls are this is the first time I've been hearing about it once we got served the notation about us coming here. So a lot of stuff I was unaware of, and most of these issues were...
Excuse me, sir. Mr. President, we need his name.
I'm sorry, Eumetrius Manuel. As you see, most of the incidents that...
Your name for the record, sir.
Eumetrius with a Y-U. Eumetrius Manuel.
Manuel?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Most of the incidents that he's showing is not a Velvet Room issue. It seemed more like it was parking lot issues. Like the ATV situation, what are we supposed to do with a parking lot in the back of a parking lot and people are on ATVs? Like, if a citizen is acting up, then of course they need to be prosecuted. But what they have to do with the Velvet Room being a danger to the community of people in the parking lot acting up? A lot of stuff that's being shown is domestic violence of a female and a male, or males get into it and they go on somewhere else. What does that have to do with the Velvet Room Bistro itself? I'm asking.
Well, it makes a bad image for the city of Montgomery.
But these city problems sometimes point to the public parking lot. Like, you got somebody pull up in a parking lot and want to be stupid and shoot a gun up in the air.
If you weren't there, would they be there?
If the business wasn't open?
Your business was closed, would they be there?
No, I wouldn't think they would, no.
How long have you been in business?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been in business?
How long have I been? About a year and some change. Year and 4
Are we
months.
current on all our taxes now, ladies? So we got that caught up? Okay, all right. The problem is, I go to the gym, as the chief of the major said earlier, I go right next door. Until you guys open, it has been a disaster. There's glass all over the parking lot on Monday morning. It's terrible. Bullet hole in the window. It is, no, sir. It's directly tied to you. That parking lot didn't have problems till you guys got in business. They did not. Chief, did y'all get called out there prior to being in business? Or
Repeat that,
major?
sir. Say it again, sir.
Did y'all get called to the parking lot prior to this?
I can't answer that
I
question
got
without
you.
having the information in front of me. I can't answer that.
Probably not.
But what I will say, since hearing about it, since hearing about the parking lot issues, we have, since we can't get the presence of an officer, we have hired a bonded parking lot security company to actually monitor the parking lot. Since hearing about it, like I've been fine with if before now and I heard about it, I would have been done it. But if I don't know all these parking lot issues are going on like that, then it was kind of new to me on that.
Don't you walk out the front door when you leave?
Well, I go through the back door.
But you never see the parking lot on the entire year?
Talking to your mic, please. Talking to your mic.
You're there for the entire year.
Right.
And you're telling me you've never saw broken glass and all
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a lot of the issues that was brought forth for me today as far as the incidents that's happening, I never knew about these parking lot issues like that. What I'm saying, if I knew about it back then, I would have been trying to find a resolution for it, then it keep going over and over and going on and on about it.
Also, it should be noted, a lot of the calls that you see here, notice the time that they're occurring. And also, I had one of my shift commanders actually go to the business to make contact with the manager and was refused entry.
That's problematic.
Refused entry?
Sir?
Refused entry?
Yes.
What time do y'all close?
At 3:30.
3:30.
Right. We serve food till 3:30.
When my shift commander went up there, it was approximately 4 o'clock.
Well, people's leaving out. We stopped last food call at 3:30.
How are we open at 3:30? I thought everything was closing at 2. Did we? Is it?
No, we serve food to 3:30. Like instead of going to Waffle House, we can gain people to buy the food from us.
Unless y'all put a stipulation on them when to close, they're not required to close, except on Sunday.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Restaurant.
Gotcha.
So, question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So since you know these issues, what action plan have you guys put in place to address some of the stuff you said you didn't know about?
Well, again, the instance that have occurred, it was not mainly inside issues. It was mostly outside issues from what I heard and seen. So what we did was, again, we hired a bonded security company to actually monitor the whole, it's a pretty big parking lot. So we actually got 3 to 4 guards to actually monitor the whole lot now since hearing about it.
Let me ask the question, Major and Chief. Have there been any calls for inside the building, someone to come out shooting in the building? I know some of those reports said that
Yes,
incidents happened and they made it to the hospital.
Yes,
by
ma'am.
the time.
We actually had a disturbance. We had the stabbing actually occurred in there, and we've also had a disorderly situation that occurred with subjects having been shooting in the parking lot. Yes.
So maybe 2 or 3 inside the premises?
That would be in a year, Audrey.
Okay, about 3.
And one dropped a gun in the sky also, as I explained.
You said inside the building?
Yes, your security guard got it, and your security guard kept it.
Oh, yeah. Because at the time, what is when they get a gun, we don't give it back to a person who's trying to get an entry in. So they hold it until they turn it over to the officers.
Right,
so
but it was dropped when y'all got it, so.
that was right at the door. We didn't have an instance inside the club, what I'm saying. Okay. That was at the door. They didn't even get in.
Okay. Anybody else got any more questions?
No.
What you want to do?
We're going to vote on this. We've got a motion to suspend the rules?
Right. Yeah, I need a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Close the hearing.
On the resolution revoking the license,
Number 9,
all in favor?
suspending the rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's a suspension of the rules.
Right.
Okay?
You got to vote, you got to suspend the rules before you vote, correct?
Right. All right, suspend the rules.
Mr. Pruitt, unanimous.
Okay? Now, what's your vote?
Motion to revoke?
Revoke the license.
Your motion is to adopt the resolution.
Okay. Motion to adopt the resolution.
Okay? All in favor, raise your hand.
Keep your hand
5.
All opposed, same sign. All abstention.
Okay, so that's going to be 3, 4,
I'm
5,
gonna abstain.
and 6 abstaining. The resolution carries with majority of 5.
Okay. Next item.
Item 16, application for rental hall event center, doing business as Sage Event Center at 547 Northeastern Boulevard.
Representative of Sage Event Center. Sage Event Center. You here?
She's coming.
Is she here?
Hello.
Hi.
What's your name, please?
I'm Benita Robinson, and this is my daughter, Alandria Woods, my business partner as well.
Now, what is the purpose of your business?
An event center.
For what kind of events?
Party planning, anniversaries, just book planning parties.
So you're booking those kind of things there?
Online, mm-hmm.
And there's only 35 of these things in Montgomery.
Yeah.
I don't understand how anybody can make any money.
Yeah.
It's money to make in partying.
Ms. Woods.
It's a luxury planning event center.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any more questions?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Exactly where are you? Where's your location?
Lagoon Park Shopping Center.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. What's in two? It's two.
Yeah, that's
Brandon.
two. I know it.
Brandon. Okay. All right, Brandon, you got any problem? We need a
Not
motion to
according to the
suspend the rules.
All right, so what exactly you plan to do in the event center? You got hours of operation, or days you're gonna be open, or is this sporadic, or?
Okay, it's gonna be mostly planning like for event, for private party of a small group. So like to keep down, like a lot of stuff going on, like you just wanna do a private event of 40 people or 49 of your family or your friends, or you wanna do an anniversary. It's not public walk-in, it gotta be planned.
What's your occupancy level?
49.
49?
49.
No, that's not, yeah. So we're not gonna see 200 people in there and gunshots around the parking lot?
No. Security as well.
Alcohol? Alcohol?
I can't hear you.
Are you gonna have alcohol?
Sure, yes, alcohol.
Do you sell it? Do you sell it or just serve it?
Yes, I'm selling it as packages of the party plan.
Okay, party pack.
Do you have a license?
Liquor license? Do you
Do
have
you
to
have an
have a
alcohol license?
Yes.
Well, we working on the steps now. This,
Ms. Woods and Ms. Robinson, we got a lot of questions. So what I want to do is, because for one thing, me and Brett and Alliance need to find out who district you in, okay? And another thing, we got a lot of event centers. So for me, if you in 3, I definitely want to come see it, talk to you, and hear your plan.
I would love that.
And so
It's
I'm gonna get your
Lagoon Park.
number.
It's in Lagoon Park Shopping Center.
But I'm gonna get your number, and we're gonna carry this over. Okay.
All right. Next item.
But I'm, as far as.
Item 11, application for rental hall event center, doing business is KJ's Event Center at 3447D McGee Road. And they need to realize the next meeting is next Tuesday.
Yeah, Keisha Johnston with the event center. Your name for the record, please.
My name is Keisha Johnson.
Okay. All right, this is in whose district? Let's see. CC, Ms. CC, you want, any questions here?
You're located in the shopping center, the mall, and the shopping center across from the Montgomery Mall.
Yes, that's correct, off McGee Road.
Okay, so what's your occupancy level?
The occupancy level?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I do not know as of now, because when I called down to have inspections done, because I'm wanting to operate after-school program out of the same building, I was told I need to come down and see if it was a possibility. I now own and operate a licensed home daycare. So what I wanted to do was extend after-school care to parents who do not get off within time to get their kids. So my idea is to operate the after-school program for the kids Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday only, which would not conflict with the hours, you know, caring for the kids, and then the event center on the weekend. I wanted to make sure that it was something that I can do without conflict, so I was told to speak to you all first. Now, with the event center, there will not be any alcohol there. I'm not applying for an alcohol license. I will not be selling alcohol. I really want to utilize it for the kids that I'm going to be taking care of during the week. Like if their parents want to do them a birthday party there, a dinner for, you know, like.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. You good to go.
Very good.
Oh, I'm
You got it.
sorry.
All right,
Okay,
thank
good
you.
deal.
Appreciate you.
Need a motion?
Well, CC,
Yes.
I thought we had a conversation one time before about a daycare and an event center in the same building.
But she's saying she's using it as a rental for the kids, not adults.
Birthday parties.
Well, no, she said anniversary parties. Didn't you say anniversary?
Well, it can be anniversary parties, but there will not be alcohol on the premises.
Let's do this. I want you, I'm gonna go ahead and suspend the rules and approve your license, but I want you to make sure you can operate both up under the same building, being that it's, you know, you're gonna do an after-school daycare and whatever you need to do with the license. You might need 2 separate licenses that you might have to come back before the city council, but what you just told me about something for the youth, I don't have any problem.
Yeah, right. I did speak with licensing, and they did say it was okay to operate both out of the facility, being that they're not conflicting in the hours, but to be on the safe side and not to run into a conflict down the line, they told me to speak with you all.
Okay. This is where I'm at, Ms. Jones. Just stick with what you talked to me about. You know, if you want to do the after-school program, you want to do things that you least, because I think we do need that, where we can have youth parties,
Right.
birthday parties in a facility that are, and the kids are already familiar with that facility.
Right.
I'm fine with that. So just stick with what you're saying. I'm holding for what your word
Okay.
you just talked to me about is on the record, and I'll move to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
I abstain.
All right, thank you. You-
Put your hands back up, let me get them. 1, 2, 9, 6, okay. Noes?
No, I mean.
Abstain.
I'm abstaining.
Ms. Johnson, you abstaining?
Abstaining, yes, ma'am.
3 abstentions, just a 6-3.
Good luck with your business.
All right, good luck with your business, ma'am.
So is that a approval?
Yes, you approve.
Okay, thank you so much.
Wait, just a minute, I don't have the vote. Who abstained? 3 and 4?
2, 3, and 4.
2
I
voted
had
for it.
two
He was
that
voting
voted
for
for
it.
it. I got 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9 that voted for it. Okay, so that means 3,
Only
4.
'cause CC told me.
You weren't here on the vote.
You back
You just,
I'm back now.
He was out.
I'm back now.
So we good?
6, 7, 8. Okay, and 6 coming in at 6:52. That takes care of everybody.
Okay, good. Good luck with your business.
Okay, you guys have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Item 12, application for lounge retail liquor class 2 package license doing business as Liquor Depot at 84 Commerce Street.
Representative of Liquor Depot, please. Liquor Depot. Yes, sir. And this is who? This is you.
Good evening.
Okay.
Hello.
My name is Josh Bush.
Josh Bush, okay?
Yes.
Council, this is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held as proper before the council. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt.
No,
Well, motion
suspend the
to
rules.
suspend the rules, I'm sorry.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
And motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Item 13, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Kangaroo Express at 2111 Macklemore Drive.
Representative Kangaroo Express here, please. There you go.
It's been built for 2 years, you said.
Your name for the record, please.
Susan Rogers.
Okay, Ms. Rogers. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with business.
All right, thank you.
Item 14, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Need a motion to uphold.
Mr. President, I asked to see if it's anybody who,
This is the structure. This is.
yeah, but it's all in District 4.
Demolition.
And somebody gonna come down here and say they came down here.
Okay. Anybody would like to discuss these demolitions?
Okay.
Monica Street and Camden Street. Okay.
Move to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda?
This is the one you just uphold.
Yes, he's going to
Oh,
uphold
just
this.
uphold. Motion to uphold.
Motion to uphold. All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. Lyons, Mr. Grimes? Unanimous.
All right.
Item 15, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Yep.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
16.
Item 16, annual report for fiscal year 2022, Rebuild Alabama.
Need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 17, resolution obligating funds in mental health program provided by CarStare and the CarStare Crisis Diversion Center.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Now you need a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
There we go.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Resolution is adopted.
I have a question. Did we see the contract on this?
Ms. Blaylock, while you're answering that, can I ask the recall, was that item number 5? I would like to vote on it for the broadband study.
Just a moment.
Yeah, I wasn't here. I want to vote.
We voted on it. It's already approved.
Okay, it's going to take a motion to reconsider and a majority vote.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
move to reconsider item number 5.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay, now give me the
Motion to adopt.
motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
8.
Who we missing?
Unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who we missing?
I don't.
Okay, now I have contingency fund. Mayor, I have a bunch of new ones that were given to me as we were coming in. The one that you have, that the mayor has approved is for District 8, $2,000 to Melrose Homeowners Association. And Mayor, all of the following are vendors, and they haven't been before you. District 4, $500 to the Montgomery Music and Arts Foundation. District 4, $2,000 to the Kershaw YMCA for tiaras and bow ties.
Okay.
That's not all. I'm just trying to get to it. For District 5, $1,000 to Friends of the Theater. They are vendors. These are all vendors. For District 6, $1,000 to Universal Youth Foundation, $1,000 to MPS for Floyd Middle School cheerleaders, and $5,500 to Young Men on a Mission. For District 7, $500 to the Montgomery Music and Arts Foundation, $500 to the Optimist Club, and $2,500 to McCoa. You okay with those?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. President,
Motion to adopt?
I have one that I want to add,
Okay,
Mr.
go
President. $500 to Montgomery Music and Art Foundation.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm doing 500 from District 3, Ms. Blaylock.
I can't hear you.
500 from the foundation from District 3.
Music?
The music and arts for the Centennial Hill
Okay,
project.
okay.
All right,
Miss Blaylock, hold on, Charlie.
go ahead.
I got 500 to music and art, and I want to know if I want to make a donation to Flatwood out of rental, do I have to mention to you, or can I just do it out of my rental tax?
Rental, it has to be handled entirely separately.
Sounds
You'll
like a
need to
win.
send us
Send
an
it to Betty.
email, and then we'll get approval from
Got it.
Betty, and then up
Got
to the
it.
mayor. Yes, sir.
Mayor, you good with that?
Is that it? Mr. President?
Okay.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make a motion to adopt, but Ms. Blaylock, I apologize for my colleagues not being able to get their stuff in on time, seeing how I was the only one.
You
So
haven't
I'm
got one
sorry.
you want?
Yeah.
All right.
Move
Got a
to
motion
adopt. Move
All
to
in favor,
adopt.
raise your hand before everybody else talks.
Unanimous.
All right. Next item, please. Let's go. All right. If there's nothing else on your agenda, I
No,
got
sir,
public.
that's all of mine.
I got Oscar Borkin wants to talk about drainage